From Washington, D.C., this is the George Washington University's Commencement 2012.
Delighted to welcome all of you to the spring commencement of the 191st year of the George Washington University. We ask all of you to remain standing. We will begin our ceremony with a presentation of the colors and the national anthem sung by Professor Millicent Scarlett. We will remain standing for the invocation by Alfreda Robinson and the retiring of the colors.
Gracious and everlasting Creator, who is called by diverse holy names, we invoke your presence here. Thank you for this marvelous occasion in celebration of the academic achievements of and new pathways for the graduates of the class of 2012. We thank you for these outstanding graduates who have succeeded despite great and small challenges. Thank you for our service members who have pledged to protect our lives and our freedoms. We thank you for the time we shared with those who have passed away before this day. Thank you for family, friends, and teachers who you, in your infinite wisdom, placed in the graduates' lives to love, nurture, and sustain them. We invoke your blessings upon the 2012 graduating class, our nation, national leaders, the university president, Mrs. Knapp, faculty, and staff. We pray that your mighty hand will bless us to love others more than ourselves, to give more than receive, to look to the future more than to the past, to seek wisdom and happiness more than fame and fortune, to challenge more than simply accept, to be kind and just more than right and powerful, to have courage more than fear, and to salute others more than seek applause. Now bless this commencement with great joy. Amen.
Please be seated. Class of 2012, I'm delighted to open this ceremony in this one-of-a-kind setting, the National Mall. To gather here so close to the United States Capitol and the monument dedicated to our nation's first president is a fitting tribute to your achievements in completing your degrees. I am now pleased to invite the president of the university to join me at the podium. Dr. Stephen Knapp is concluding his 5th year as president of the George Washington University. Dr. Knapp leads a community of faculty, students, and staff that numbers almost 30,000 people. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming the George Washington University's 16th president, Dr. Stephen Knapp.
Thank you, Provost Lerman. Chairman Ramsey, university trustees, honorary degree recipients, university leaders, Marshall Castleberry, distinguished faculty, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. Graduates, let me begin by congratulating you on your outstanding achievements and telling you that the George Washington University is very, very proud of you. I would like to thank our host, the National Park Service, and Park Service staff for their gracious and generous help in preparing this majestic setting for today's ceremony. In fact, this is the 20th year that we have held this ceremony on National Park grounds. And now I'd like to follow an important part of our commencement tradition at the George Washington University. Will the parents, the families, and the friends of the class of 2012 please rise to receive our congratulations and our thanks? Please rise. It is now my pleasure to recognize the special guests who will today receive honors, and indeed the university's highest honor. Please join me in welcoming international business leader and humanitarian, Carlos Slim. Artist and two-time GW alumna, Clarice Smith. And distinguished journalist, Brian Williams. I now have the honor of introducing W. Russell Ramsey, Chairman of the university's Board of Trustees. Mr. Ramsey.
Thank you, Mr. President. It is indeed a glorious day to be celebrating, what is truly one of the most wonderful events of the year here at George Washington University. And first of all, I'm honored to serve as chairman of this illustrious university, and I want to join President Knapp in welcoming everyone and welcoming many of you who are also alumni and parents, relatives and friends in this really very amazing venue on this day that I can only believe was penciled in as appropriate for the celebration. And so as we celebrate the class of 2012 and the many accomplishments, I want to first ask that you perhaps join our trustees who have come with us this morning and ask if you might perhaps rise and be recognized by the audience, trustees. You are friends, you are able servants of this university. Your service and your achievements are really appreciated by all of us, and we couldn't do much of what we do without your amazing commitment. It's also my pleasure to welcome our honorary degree recipients, Clarice Smith and Carlos Slim, along with our commencement speaker, NBC Nightly News anchor, Brian Williams. As you may be aware, Mr. Williams did attend GW, among many other places. And we are welcomed and really pleased to have him with us this morning. We appreciate all of you being here on this momentous occasion to not only celebrate our graduates, but also to recognize the hard work and commitment of the faculty and the support of the staff and the love and caring of their families and friends that have helped them through their journey here at GW. More than 30 years ago, I was one of you, completed my studies here at George Washington, and from my own perspective, I can tell you that the time I spent here, the lessons I learned, the friends I made, have stayed with me and continue to enrich my personal and professional life. I often tell people that GW changed the path of my life in so many tremendous ways that I will forever be grateful and loyal to this university. This is one of the unifying points that connect us to a broader, lifelong, and worldwide community. While you may not fully appreciate it right now, this connection is one that has shaped who you are and who you will be for the rest of your lives. As we celebrate our 100th anniversary in Foggy Bottom and continue our decade of transformation for this university, I am delighted to have a leading role in helping with the growth and the development of GW. Our goal is nothing less than to have this university as one of the most respected and admired universities in the world. All of you, as the newest GW graduates, also have a role to play. Take the knowledge you have learned through your academic and co-curricular pursuits and the pride and respect you have gained for your alma mater into the world as citizens leaders. Remember, who you are has been shaped in large measure by your experiences at the George Washington University. Don't wait to be asked. Stay connected with this university by visiting campus, letting us know of your accomplishments, sharing your expertise, hiring a fellow GW alum, making gifts to support the university, and even encouraging others to follow in your footsteps at the George Washington University. We are proud of you, and as I know you will always be proud to say, I am a graduate of the George Washington University. Congratulations to you all. It is now my pleasure to turn the program back over to Provost Lehrman.
Thank you, Chairman Ramsey. It's now my pleasure to recognize this year's recipients of the George Washington Awards. These awards are given as the university's highest honor and are conferred for extraordinary contributions to the GW community. The students, the faculty, and the staff who receive the GW Award have each in his or her own way, shaped our university, making it the outstanding institution it is today. It gives me great pleasure to announce this year's honorees. As I call your name, please rise. Alyssa Abraham. Nicholas Sempogna. Gregory Maggs. Robert A. Chernak. Please join me again in congratulating the winners of the GW Awards. Thank you. Let me now introduce Jim Corr, the president of the GW Alumni Association. He will offer a few remarks and introduce our student speaker.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I am a proud graduate of the Elliott School of International Affairs and president of your George Washington Alumni Association. My first task this morning is to recognize your Alumni Association Executive Board that is here to celebrate this day with you. It is also my great privilege and honor to welcome our alumni emeriti that are in the audience today. These are alumni who have graduated 50 years ago or more. These proud graduates are sitting in front of the podium in handsome ceremonial caps and gold gowns. It is a pleasure to welcome you to this wonderful celebration. Please stand to be recognized. To our newest graduates, I welcome you on behalf of the global GW alumni community and welcome you to our alumni family. We have reached a milestone together. Somewhere sitting in the audience is our 250,000th GW alumni. This means that we are now part of a global community of 250,000 people in 150 countries that can point to a rich heritage right back here at the George Washington University. The next chapter of your GW experience begins today. I invite you to engage with our Young Alumni Network as a way to connect with your fellow colonials around the world. Participate in our regional club activities, join our LinkedIn group, follow us on Facebook and Twitter. Attend our networking nights, and continue to challenge yourself academically by attending our Alumni Speakers Series or by auditing a course. All these and more are ways that you can stay connected to GW and reap the rewards of a powerful affiliation. Your GW Alumni Association is a community of volunteers serving our students, our alumni, and our alma mater. Our association provides funding to athletic groups, fraternities, sororities, cultural groups, and other student organizations that want to host reunions. We offer career consulting for alumni who are changing careers and those that are seeking to deepen the careers they are currently pursuing. We offer many benefits, including trips to international locations with faculty and other members of the GW family. Please stay in touch with us. Attend your class reunions. Be an active alum. Please mentor the next generation of GW students. And be sure to stop by Alumni House when you are on campus. Remember, for every stage of your life and wherever you may live in this great world, the GW Alumni Association is here to serve you. It is now my privilege to introduce our student speaker, Noreen Kassam. Ms. Kassam graduates today with a Bachelor of Arts in International Affairs and Political Science. During her 4 years at GW, she has worked at a number of government agencies, including the Federal Emergency Management Agency, the Department of Treasury, and the White House Commission on Remembrance. She worked on the government affairs team at the National Confectioners Association, representing candy and chocolate makers from around the United States. She consulted on political campaigns across the country, from Wisconsin to Connecticut to Colorado. After graduation, she intends to pursue a career in public service. Ladies and gentlemen, Noreen Kassam.
Good morning. Today, as we graduate and reflect upon our time at GW, we must not forget those who helped us get here and make it through. To all our families and friends, I give to each of you, on behalf of my entire class, our sincere and heartfelt thanks. Without your unconditional love and support, none of us would be here today. As we sit here this clear spring morning, we only have to look around us to see what our futures hold. The Capitol to the east, the Lincoln Memorial to the west, and museums honoring generations of famous Americans, global citizens, and unforgettable accomplishments to our north and south. These surroundings are a testament to what generations of famous Americans, from our namesake George Washington to Martin Luther King Jr., have taught us that our futures lie not just with us, but with the generations that come after us. As we move forward and join the global GW alumni network that Jim spoke of, I implore you to do your part to allow others to share our similar experiences by paying it forward. Here at GW, our experiences have been unforgettable, unique, and simply amazing. In my 4 years at GW, I have attended events with 3 US presidents, 4 Supreme Court justices, 6 secretaries of state, 9 ambassadors, 10 governors, and even rock stars like Bono and Usher. Only here at GW are excuses for being late to class because of presidential motorcades or Secret Service barricades not only acceptable, but common. College is traditionally meant to prepare us for the world, but in so many ways, simply by virtue of being students at GW, many of us entered the professional world the day we embraced the culture of GW, simultaneously balancing our classes, jobs, internships, volunteer work, and campus involvement. We've survived snowpocalypse, moved in during Hurricane Irene, and crowded together at this very spot to witness the inauguration of a historic president. After experiencing so much, our time here at GW has given us the ability to impact the lives and futures of those who come after us here at GW and around the world by simply lending an outstretched hand to those in need, allowing others to learn from our successes and failures, and never forgetting those who have sat where we are today and those that will sit here in the future. Let us honor our past by embracing the future. As we prepare to leave GW as the graduating class of 2012, let's work to build a culture of excellence, take the lessons we have learned and the spirit of GW to those we encounter in our futures. Over the past 4 years, what has been most inspiring to me has been each of you, your goodness and your selflessness. I have seen the impact of GW's culture of service, so deeply rooted in the core of this university, resonate around the world, with 2/3 of our class studying abroad in over 50 countries. You have volunteered at soup kitchens and homeless shelters around the city, donated cell phones to help women in the developing world, rebuilt homes in New Orleans and Nicaragua for those affected by natural disasters, educated those around you about the importance of sustainability, and passionately advocated against injustices here at home and abroad. It is my deepest and most sincere hope that we not forget this need to do good, this fundamental human need to take care of each other, simply because it's the right thing to do. So, class of 2012, I would tell you to take what you have learned and go change the world. But I know that in your own ways, so many of you already have. So instead, I will say this to each of you, regardless of where you are from or where you are going. My charge to you is simple. I hope you do well. But more importantly, I hope you do good. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Noreen. Your remarks, as well as your achievements, serve as an inspiration to all of us. Now invite President Knapp to come to the podium to confer the honorary degrees.
Thank you, Provost Lerman. The recipient of our first honorary degree this morning will be introduced by Giuseppe Verde. Giuseppe is graduating from the School of Business with a Bachelor of Business Administration degree. This year, he received the President's Volunteer Service Award while volunteering at Francis Stevens Elementary School. Recently, Giuseppe has established a foundation for helping underprivileged high school students attend the college of their dreams. And this summer, Giuseppe will join M&T Bank as an economic analyst. Giuseppe?
President Knapp, I am honored today to present to you Carlos Slim for the degree of Doctor of Public Service, honoris causa.
You were born in Mexico City to a family of Lebanese immigrants. In 1952, at the age of 12, you made your first investment buying shares of Banco Nacional de Mexico. You studied civil engineering at the National Autonomous University of Mexico, supporting yourself by teaching algebra and linear programming. After graduation, you worked for a prominent engineering firm in Mexico City. In the late 1960s, you turned to business and began acquiring companies. And today, your portfolio includes many of Latin America's most successful and best-known companies, including among them Grupo Carso, Telmex, and América Móvil. In addition to managing your own companies and investments, you have been an international leader for decades in business development. You were vice chairman of the Mexican Stock Exchange and led the New York Stock Exchange Latin American Committee. And you have served on the boards of such organizations as the RAND Corporation and the Broadband Commission. While making all these strides in business, you have also focused on bettering lives through the Carlos Slim and the Telmex Foundations, the largest philanthropic institutions in Latin America. In addition, you established the Carlos Slim Health Institute. Through these institutions, you have supported education, funded medical care for those in need, particularly mothers and children, and led an initiative to restore historic downtown Mexico City. You are a champion of the fine arts, establishing the dazzling Museo Sumaya in honor of your late wife, with holdings including more than 64,000 works of art. Your philanthropy and business acumen have been honored around the globe with awards such as the Red Cross Medal of Honor and Merit, the Ford's Lifetime Achievement Award, and our university's President's Medal. Carlos Slim, for all the foregoing, the George Washington University proudly confers upon you the degree of Doctor of Public Service, honoris causa, with all the rights, duties, and privileges pertaining thereto. Congratulations.
Good morning. My family and I are very proud of this honorary degree, and particularly for being with you on your commencement day. Well, our commencement day. I would like to extend my gratitude to the Board of Trustees and President Knapp of George Washington University for this distinction. Thank you very much. 18 years ago, in 1994, I wrote a letter to the students who participate in the ceremony of the Academy of American Achievement. I rewrote it for the purpose of reading it to you today, to express some of the thoughts that I have experienced, as well as conversations and readings that have come to me during my life. I hope to contribute to your way of thinking and living, your social commitment, emotional strength, your sense of responsibility, maturity, and above all, your real happiness. Real happiness that is a product of who you are and how you conduct yourself on a daily basis. Success is not being recognized by others. It is not about an external opinion. It is about an internal state of being. It is the harmony between the soul and our emotions that are fed by love, family, friendship, authenticity, and honesty. The fundamental and permanent values that are far superior to professional, economical, social, or political success. Fortitude and emotional balance are part of your inner self and are achieved by avoiding negative feelings such as envy, jealousy, arrogance, egoism, and greed. Feelings that are a poison which is ingested bit by bit. Chronic pessimism leads us to mediocrity. When you give, do not expect to receive. Aroma remains in the hands that give roses, says a Chinese proverb. Do not allow negative feelings and emotions to dominate your spirit. Emotional damage does not come from third parties. It is forced and given leeway within ourselves. Remember, God forgives our sins, but our nervous system doesn't. Do not mistake values. No belittle principles. Life is a very long road, but is traveled very fast. Live the present fully and intensively. Let the past not be a burden. May the future be an incentive. Live with a sense of urgency when you are creating, when you are innovating, when you are solving problems, when you are building. Anyone who carves his own future is able to influence reality, but don't ignore reality. Live with positive feelings such as love, friendship, loyalty, courage, joy, good humor, optimism, self-esteem, peace, serenity, patience, confidence, tolerance, responsibility, and commitment. And to those contrary feelings that attempt to invade your soul, do not let them inhibit your spirit. Do not allow them to set roots. Take them away. Many times you will make mistakes. It is human and usual, but always try to make small ones. Accept them, correct them, and forget them. Do not obsess over the mistakes you make. Remember, heaven and hell are within us. What is most worthwhile in life does not have a price. Love, friendship, nature, forms, colors, sounds, and smells that we perceive with our senses. These feelings are only appreciated when we are awake and open to enjoying life. To be born is a miracle. We should love life always, even during the worst of circumstances. It makes us stronger and develops a positive sense within us and with others. Live without fears and without guilt. Fear is the worst sentiment of human beings. It weakens us, inhibits action, depresses us. Guilt is a tremendous burden that weighs down on our thinking, our actions, and our lives. Fear and guilt make the present difficult and obstruct the future. Let us accept ourselves as we are, with our reality, our merits, and our grief. Occupation displaces preoccupation, and problems, when confronted, disappear. Problems should make us stronger each time, and from our failures, learn. Our success should be silent stimuli. Always act pursuant to the dictates of your conscience. It is not possible to fool it. Live with your intelligence, your soul, and senses awake and alert to love and enjoy life. We have the fortune of living a new civilization, generous and virtuous, of freedom, democracy, diversity, plurality, knowledge, human rights, technology, innovation, competition, creativity, globalization, social mobility, and environment care, where the development is sustained by the welfare of all. Fighting against poverty and ignorance is not only from ethical, social, and moral reasons, but also because of an economic need. We are committed to developing human capital through health and modern, high-quality education, connect to grow with broadband, and promoting the activities where the new jobs will be created. Where will be the new jobs will be created? In the information and communications technology, in the development of applications and content, the micro, small, and medium companies that are the way all the companies begin, healthcare, education, culture, entertainment, tourism, physical capital, housing, services. But we need education, education, and education as much as jobs, jobs, and more jobs. Work well done is not only a responsibility, it is also an emotional necessity. All crises are opportunities to get stronger and change for the better. With your education, talent, and efforts, it is your time to work for the right changes. It is your time to make a better world. At the end, we live without anything, but we should leave behind a better world to our children, and most important, better children to our world. Congratulations.
Our second honorary degree recipient will be introduced by Sean Kelly. Sean is graduating from the Columbian College of Arts and Sciences with a special interdisciplinary major in arts administration. He will be attending the College Conservatory of Music at the University of Cincinnati this fall to pursue both a Master's of Arts Administration and a Master's of Business Administration. Sean has been active in the arts on campus, but my favorite fact about Sean is that he spent a good deal of time over the past 3 years living inside the GW mascot, George.
I'm honored to present Clarice Smith for the degree of Doctor of Fine Arts, honoris causa.
You were born in Washington, D.C. You attended the University of Maryland and then came to the George Washington University, where you earned both a bachelor's and a master's degree in the arts. You joined the university's Department of Fine Arts and Art History, where you taught for 7 years. You made a significant contribution to the fine arts curriculum by establishing a course on portrait painting. You had a tremendous impact upon your students, and your influence was evident in their work and future careers. An internationally recognized artist, you have painted for more than 40 years. You're an artist of diverse talents with a wide-ranging portfolio that includes portraits, florals, landscapes, still lifes, and some of the most vivid paintings of horses ever produced. Your powerful portrait of artist and collector David Driscoll now resides in the collection of the National Portrait Gallery. Your work has been displayed in solo exhibitions in prestigious galleries in the United States and abroad, including galleries in London, Paris, Zurich, Jerusalem, and here in Washington, D.C., at our own Luther W. Brady Art Gallery. In 1986, an exhibition of your works toured 7 museums across the United States. You have lent your expertise and experience to some of our nation's leading art museums, serving on the board of commissioners at the Smithsonian's American Art Museum and on the board of the National Museum of Women in the Arts. For many years, you and your late husband, Robert H. Smith, have supported a vast number of institutions in fields including education, medicine, the arts, and historic preservation. These include the George Washington University, the University of Maryland, Hebrew University, the Wilmer Eye Institute, Mount Vernon Estate Museum and Gardens, Thomas Jefferson's Monticello, the Washington National Opera, the Shakespeare Theater Company, the Museum, and the John F. Kennedy Center for the Performing Arts. Clarice Smith, for your extraordinary contributions as a teacher, supporter, and above all, a practitioner of art, the George Washington University proudly confers upon you the degree of Doctor of Fine Arts, honoris causa, with all the rights, duties, and privileges pertaining thereto. Congratulations.
When I graduated in the 70s, I didn't attend my graduation because as a mature woman, I felt too embarrassed to walk in the procession with all the young people. I'm glad I waited 40 years for this. Because I certainly wouldn't have heard all those nice things said about me. I want to thank the board and President Knapp for this honor. It is deeply appreciated.
Our final honorary degree recipient will be introduced by Yadira Holmes. Yadira graduates today from the College of Professional Studies with a Master of Professional Studies in Political Management. A distant student from Florida with 3 young children, Yadira balanced her studies with a career in public affairs.
President Knapp, I am honored to present to you Brian Williams for the degree of Doctor of Humane Letters, honoris causa.
You were born in Elmira, New York, and grew up in Middletown, New Jersey. Your first job in public service came when you were in high school, when you were a volunteer firefighter in high school. You attended Brookdale Community College, the Catholic University of America, and the George Washington University. You interned at the White House during the administration of President Jimmy Carter, and you began your storied career in broadcasting in 1981 in Pittsburgh, Kansas, handling whatever came your way, including sports, weather, and news at KOAM TV. But you also saw your first big break here in Washington when you joined WTTG. You then worked in Philadelphia and New York City before joining NBC News in 1993. You became NBC's chief White House correspondent and then anchor and managing editor of The News with Brian Williams on MSNBC and CNBC. In 2004, you took over as anchor of NBC Nightly News, the most viewed nightly news program in the nation. You also host the highly successful primetime news magazine, Rock Center with Brian Williams. You are one of our nation's most acclaimed journalists. Your career in broadcast journalism has taken you around the world to report on wars, natural disasters, and global summits, and your coverage of world events has earned you both high praise and a sterling reputation for journalistic excellence. You won awards for your work covering Hurricane Katrina and its aftermath. You have also covered numerous presidential campaigns, nominating conventions and elections, and have moderated no fewer than 8 presidential debates. Your long list of awards includes the broadcast industry's highest honor, the George Foster Peabody Award. Your fine work has also been recognized with 11 Edward R. Murrow Awards, 12 Emmy Awards, and the Alfred I. DuPont Columbia University Award, and the Walter Cronkite Award for Excellence in Journalism. Time magazine has named you one of the 100 most influential people in the world. You've been hailed as the Walter Cronkite of the 21st century. And you are just as comfortable hosting Saturday Night Live as you are interviewing world leaders. Brian Williams, in recognition of all the foregoing, the George Washington University proudly confers upon you the degree of Doctor of Humane Letters, honoris causa, with all the rights, duties, and privileges pertaining thereto. Ladies and gentlemen, our commencement speaker, Dr. Brian Williams.
Thank you very much. I want to thank the DC Fire Department for the drive-by, just as I was named. And you can thank me later. I note you're all wearing black because someone knows I am about to discuss my academic past. The dark cloud has arrived. People are enjoying a lovely day from Cabin John to Arlington to the Eastern Shore, except for us, because I'm about to talk about my time at the George Washington University. And now we have air support. So this is going to get interesting. I did tell them when they called, it's really okay, I've got this. I told them when they called, I said, you know, I dropped out of GW. It was my third and final attempt at college, and they said, oh no, that's cool. Come on ahead. And so today, I want to share with you a bit of the story of how I came academically to achieve the sum total of 18 college credits. Thank you very much. There's an atmosphere of academia up here on stage that you can't understand, so excuse me while I accept the congratulations of my fellow academicians. The best news is I don't have a speech. I have just a few thoughts, because it's hot and you're hungover, but enough about your parents. We're also way too close to Congress to give a speech, and we've established you're all smarter than me. So I have just two things to tell you. Number one, how I dropped out of GW, which is kind of a fun story. And number two, a few great things about America. And then you're free to go. How I dropped out of GW begins with how I got to Washington, and that starts with a guy named Tony LaVeglia. Now, Tony's name is you don't have to remember it, but it's immaterial in that we all have a Tony LaVeglia in our lives. In my case, he's the guy who calls you You're a young firefighter on the Jersey Shore. You're in your second year of Brookdale Community College. I don't like to brag. It's supposed to just take 2 years, but you're settling in for a good long haul. You're just getting your rhythm going. You've just passed your EMT exam, and you have applied for a civil service job as a dispatcher in Freehold, New Jersey. Again, hooah. Again, I'm going to be bragging throughout my remarks today. Tony calls. He drives a Ford Econoline van, which he has filled with cold liquids, and says, "Come with me this weekend to Washington, D.C., where I'm going to visit my French girlfriend, Claire, who is a student at Catholic University." Who was I to say no to Tony LaVeglia? So for just a weekend trip, I leave the confines of my home county in New Jersey, and I come down here, where my eyes are opened. I think they call it Potomac fever. I get here and I see young people, all of them wearing khakis. And they're wearing blue blazers, and they are scurrying around, and they all seem to have internships, and they're talking about important things, and they know important people. And all I knew was I had to be a part of it. Tony, by the way, is today a wine distributor, which shows there is justice in life. I would buy wine from him. He has spent years researching his product line. I come down and I tried to transfer my vast credits from Brookdale to Catholic University. They have run out of dorm space because I'm a little late in applying, so they find room for me in the administration building of Trinity College across the street. There are 8 of us living on the top floor, 8 men, 600 Catholic women. It's fantastic. And things just start happening to me. One of the young men we lived with in the administration building, named Rocco, came home one day and said he had to vacate an internship at the White House. Was anyone interested? I owned 1 blue blazer. Again, not to brag, but I had worked at Sears, and I bought it with my employee discount. And I said, "Why, Rocco, that sounds like a terrific opportunity for me. After all, there's nothing about my background that doesn't leave me perfectly equipped to go into the West Wing every day." And so I interviewed for the internship, and by some quirk, I got it. And for the next year, every day I was going into the West Wing in the old executive office building while trying to pursue my college studies at Catholic University. I was a work-study kid. I've worked since the day I turned 14. Well, the need to make money exceeded my ability to pay for my classes at Catholic University, and so I had to concentrate full-time on working there but not studying there. And toward the end of my internship at the White House, I just thought that the night school program at GW fit my schedule better. I enrolled in a couple of classes, and I remember my last class that would be ever prior to leaving college. It was a night course here at GW on politics and media. Now, I would run from the West Wing with my pass, my West Wing pass, casually in my shirt pocket, the chain dangling. Oh, that? Yes. That all access this close to the president pass? Why, yes. What about it? The professor hired, and this is a long time ago, so it's meant to harm no one. The professor hired to teach this class had come from a PR firm and told us that he was working by day at a PR firm and signed up to teach this class. He admitted along the way he'd only been on the public tour of the West Wing. And when I was sitting in class, since I was paying the freight, It was like a taxi meter every moment it went by. I knew it was my money and it was my future. And then one day he said, "I'll tell you about the news media, they're gullible. At my PR firm, we run something called the Road Information Program, or TRIP. We get our funding from road contractors, and every year we put out the list of the roads and bridges in this country that we feel are in most dire need of repair. And every year we kind of sit back and watch the media breathlessly report this list of road and bridges. It was the first lesson I learned in the news media and how it works. And I'll be darned if all the years I've anchored various NBC News broadcasts, we have never repeated the list of road information program, roads and bridges in this country, because I learned my lesson. Just as your student speaker today has now navigated the political thicket of that dirty Twizzler money in politics. Thank you, both of you. Appreciate it. It was during a particularly tough stretch, and one night I was stressed out. I was running out of money, living in a basement apartment at 35th and O Streets that flooded on occasion. And the meter was running, and I was running out of cash. And I walked out of college for the last time. And I like to say to people that I was in a big hurry and I needed to go make a living, and I never looked back. But the truth is, as the last college I attended, I can tell you, I look back every day and I look in the mirror, and it's one of my great regrets. And don't forget that by being here today, you have now achieved something I was not able to achieve. And this is where you come in. You enter the world right now, and I know you've heard this before, at a time when we're hearing talk about our nation we've never heard before. We're hearing the generation just in front of you tell pollsters for the first time that they don't think they're leaving a better world for you. They don't think your chances will be better than theirs. I have a few reminders, though, not far from here. This has to do with our geography here today. Just reminders of how good we are. In the Smithsonian Air and Space, part of this mall, there's an orange aircraft hanging from the ceiling. It was designed to resemble the bullet from a .50 caliber weapon. It's called the X-1. And Chuck Yeager flew that aircraft. If you've read the book or seen the movie, then you know. This is back when we were different. This was 1947. We'd been home from World War II for 2 years, and we must have been bored. We must have needed excitement. They called it the sound barrier for a reason, because no one knew if Chuck Yeager was going to disintegrate in this thing, and he never gave it a moment's thought or hesitation. He went up in the X-1, and after that day, the sound barrier was nothing. And it's hanging right over there in that beautiful museum. He just thought we ought to move forward, and there was no guarantee we were going to make it. Also in that building is a magnificent thing called the X-15. A dozen men flew it, including Neil Armstrong. They had to drop it out of the bottom of a B-52. It flew so high that when the pilots came back down, they had to be designated astronauts because they'd flown over 50 miles up, 67 miles high to be exact. They flew at 4,000 and 5,000 and 6,000 miles an hour. One pilot died trying. His body was ripped apart by a fall of 16 Gs. Aircraft settled over a 50-mile area. It did not affect the program or his fellow pilots. They all knew there was no guarantee they were going to make it. Also in that museum is Friendship 7. I described the color of it as kind of charcoal and fire black. It's really a corrugated steel can. John Glenn climbed in that thing. He knew there was no guarantee he was going to make it back. On his way back to re-enter Earth's atmosphere, he hummed the battle hymn of the Republic. to kind of kill the time and occupy his mind. Flames are shooting past the window. He thought he was going to roast alive inside. He really did think he was going to die. And of course, all the missions to the moon, there was no guarantee we were going to make it. We lost the first 3 astronauts on the launching pad in a fire before the first mission. Again, not to brag, but I drive a Chevy Tahoe. It's big and black and menacing just as I like it. It's a hybrid, just to calm everybody down. I love my car. And about 85% of my Chevy Tahoe is because of the space program. The gauges and the sensors and the wiring and the relays and the GPS and the brake linings. NASA was an idea machine. Chuck Yeager, thank you. Neil Armstrong, thank you. John Glenn, thank you. All of you who were involved in the program. Remember, there was no guarantee they were going to make it. So that's where I hand off to you. Here we are. Our politics are broken. Here we are in the shadow of the U.S. Capitol. How many of you have worked in politics during your time at the George Washington University? All right. Keep that up. My only advice would be get along, please. Introduce yourselves before you leave here today. Remember, there'd be no constitution in this country without compromise. We wouldn't have been formed without compromise. Going without compromise makes you a highly principled person, but it can often lead us to a government that is not attuned to the needs of the people. How many of you plan to be educators? Thank you for that. How many of you spent some time overseas helping impoverished people? How many of you plan to keep at that work? John F. Kennedy was right when he talked about the army of young people going out around the world. I've walked through countries like Malawi, where the difference between a small community with running water coming out of a 1-inch white PVC pipe and a town without water is often just which towns have been visited by terrific young American people acting as volunteers. You should be very proud of something else. It was mostly GW students, as far as I could tell, who climbed those light poles and showed up at the White House the night we learned bin Laden had been killed. It was a good feeling. We had done something. And with that mission, too, there was no guarantee of success. One more thing. While you've been here, a lot of people have been over there. And a troubling trend in society right now is that our civilian life and our military life are going down, picture it as a train track, 2 separate paths, and they don't intersect because of the small percentage of people we call upon to fight our wars, because we don't have a draft. You can walk door to door in this country and have to go to 250 homes before you come to the home of a military family. And because we need to bridge that gap, and because we might as well start today, can I ask all the veterans with us today to stand up and accept our thanks and congratulations? That's the greatest part of my job. I've been able to go to both of this nation's wars and see what they do and come back knowing they're the best team we've ever fielded. And now here's the problem. You know, when our American astronauts, as they did last week, needed a ride up to the International Space Station, we have to ask the Russians. We don't have a way to get them up there ourselves. It's a last insult to Chuck Yeager. He's still around and with us, and he can see this. And it's an insult to John Glenn. He's still with us, living here in the Washington area. He can see this. Breaks their hearts and mine. And remember, Gene Kranz, the great man at Mission Control, his motto was, failure's not an option. You don't actually have to build a rocket or go into space. But please take us somewhere. Please keep us moving, push us, lift us up, make us better. Remember this as I leave you. Again, as of today, you've achieved what I could not. Congratulations. God bless. Go achieve some more.
So graduates, commencement is a time to celebrate your accomplishments, but it's also a time to reflect upon what comes next. Not so much in the specific terms of a job or family, but rather in that broader sense of what it means to be a citizen of a country, a citizen of a world, a citizen of society. In doing so, we hope you'll draw upon what you've learned to become a even more engaged citizen of society. At George Washington University, we strive to help you along with a traditional graduation ritual, the charge to the graduates. President Knapp, I invite you to join me at the podium to offer your charge to the graduating class. President Knapp, the graduating class of 2012.
Thank you again, Provost Lerman. Let me ask, if I might, for one more round of applause for all the speakers, our student speaker, our 3 honorary degree recipients. We've had very eloquent testimony. Ladies and gentlemen, I now have the honor of welcoming our new graduates to the lifelong and worldwide community of George Washington University alumni. Class of 2012. You are exceptional women and men, and I am proud to call you graduates of this great university. This is a very significant day for you and for the family and friends who have supported you throughout your educational journey. We gather at this majestic setting on the National Mall to celebrate your accomplishments, applaud your hard work and perseverance, and honor your commitment to serve as active and engaged citizens of your communities, your nations, and the world. Graduates, I charge you to keep alive the spirit, the energy, the imagination, and the commitment to service that have won our admiration during your years in our midst. I charge you also to keep alive the curiosity that has guided you through your studies here, so that whatever work you undertake will constantly be refreshed by new knowledge. And I charge you to nourish the respect you have learned for all persons, especially those whose cultures, traditions, and opinions differ from your own. You are our future. We depend on you to repair what earlier generations have broken, to build what we have left unbuilt, to learn what we have not yet learned, to heal what we have so far left unhealed. And as you go forth to do these things, always know that at the George Washington University, you have a home in the heart of this nation's capital. Congratulations and best wishes to you all.
Ladies and gentlemen, the president of the university will now confer the bachelor's, master's, doctoral, and professional degrees. I ask the deans to rise and come forward in the order of the founding of their schools. Graduates, As your dean announces degrees from your college or school, please rise and remain standing until all the degrees of the university are called. For degrees in Columbian College of Arts and Sciences, Dean Peg Barrett.
President Knapp, it is with great pride that I present the candidates for the following degrees: Associate in Arts, Bachelor of Arts, Bachelor of Fine Arts, Bachelor of Science, Master of Arts, Master of Fine Arts, Master of Science, Master of Forensic Science, Master of Philosophy, Master of Public Administration, Master of Public Policy, Doctor of Psychology, Doctor of Philosophy. These candidates from the Columbian College of Arts and Sciences have completed all requirements for the degrees indicated, and the faculty asks that the degrees be conferred.
For degrees in the School of Medicine and Health Sciences, Dean Jeffrey Ackman.
President Knapp, as a proud alumnus of the GW School of Medicine and Health Sciences, I am honored to present the candidates for the following degrees: Associate in Science, Bachelor of Science in Health Sciences, Master of Science in Health Sciences, Doctor of Medicine, Doctor of Physical Therapy. These candidates have completed all requirements for the degrees indicated, and the faculty ask that these degrees be conferred.
For degrees in the law school, Dean Paul Berman.
President Knapp, it is my pleasure to present the candidates for the following degrees: Juris Doctor, Master of Laws, Doctor of Juridical Science. These candidates have completed all requirements for the degrees indicated, and the faculty asks that the degrees be conferred.
For degrees in the School of Engineering and Applied Science, Dean David Dolling.
President Knapp, it is my honor to present to you the candidates for the degrees Bachelor of Arts, Bachelor of Science, Master of Science, Applied Scientist, Engineer, Doctor of Philosophy, and Doctor of Science. These candidates have completed all requirements for the degrees indicated, and the faculty asks that the degrees be conferred.
For degrees in the Graduate School of Education and Human Development, Dean Michael Foyer.
President Knapp, on behalf of the great faculty of the Graduate School of Education and Human Development, I am deeply honored to present these candidates: Master of Arts in Education and Human Development, Master of Arts in Teaching, Master of Education, Education Specialist, and Doctor of Education. These extraordinary candidates have completed all requirements for the degrees indicated, and the faculty asks that the degrees be conferred.
For degrees in the School of Business, Dean Doug Guthrie.
President Knapp, it is with great pleasure that I present the candidates for the degrees Bachelor of Accountancy, Bachelor of Business Administration, Master of Accountancy, Master of Business Administration, Master of Science in Finance, Master of Science in Information Systems Technology Management, Master of Science in Project Management, Master of Tourism Administration, and Doctor of Philosophy. These candidates have completed all requirements for the degrees indicated, and the faculty asks that the degrees be conferred.
For candidates in the Elliott School of International Affairs, Dean Michael Brown.
President Knapp, on behalf of GW's Elliott School of International Affairs, I have the privilege of presenting the candidates for the following degrees: Bachelor of Arts, Master of Arts, Master of International Policy and Practice, Master of International Studies. These candidates have completed their degree requirements. The faculty of the Elliott School asks that their degrees be conferred.
For the School of Public Health and Health Services, Dean Lynn Goldman.
President Knapp, on behalf of the School of Public Health and Health Services, I am delighted to present the candidates for the following degrees: Bachelor of Science, Master of Science, Master of Public Health, Master of Health Services Administration, and Doctor of Public Health. These candidates have completed all requirements for the degrees indicated, and the faculty asks that the degrees be confirmed.
For the College of Professional Studies, Dean Ali Eskandarian.
President Knapp, I am proud and delighted to present the candidates for the following degrees: Associate in Professional Studies, Bachelor of Professional Studies, Master of Professional Studies. These candidates have completed all requirements for the degrees indicated, and the faculty asks that the degrees be conferred.
And for the university's newest school, the School of Nursing, Dean Jean Johnson.
President Knapp, I am very honored to present to you the graduating class of the School of Nursing and the candidates for the following degrees: Bachelor of Science in Nursing, Master of Science in Nursing, Doctorate of Nursing Practice. These candidates have completed all requirements for the degrees indicated, and the faculty asks that the degrees be conferred.
President Knapp, before you stand the candidates for bachelor's, master's, doctoral, and professional degrees of the George Washington University.
By virtue of the authority granted by the Congress of the United States of America, vested in the Board of Trustees of the George Washington University, and by the trustees of the university delegated to me, I hereby confer your degrees and declare you fully entitled to all their rights, honors, privileges, and responsibilities. As a symbol of your new status as university graduates, if you still have a hat, you may now move the tassels on your caps from right to left. Congratulations to you all.
Congratulations. Please join Professor Millicent Scarlett in singing what is now your alma mater. The words are on the back of your program, and then please remain standing for the academic recession.
This has been the George Washington University's Commencement 2012. Now, an abbreviated encore presentation of the George Washington University's Commencement.